Hear ye! By decree of our most worshipful Lord behavior, thou shalt not tunnel, thou shalt not slug, thou shalt not camp, thou shalt not kick. So saith his worshipfulness behavior. All right, well, let's get into it. Behavior just released a teaser yesterday of the PTB that is coming to us next week. It introduces anti-slugging and anti-tunneling in the game. There's a few killer reworks, but we're really not going to be talking about those minor adjustments or the dash slap Myers. That could be its own entire video on itself, but it's just those changes pale in comparison. Those are small peanuts compared to what's happening here, because the proposed 9.2.0 is essentially ratifying the Survivor Handbook into law. It has long since been a joke that you have to play by a Survivor's rules and all of these things, but it appears that is now going to be official content into the game. In effect, while I don't think, if we were to go by pure numerical points of change, I don't think this is the biggest update ever. I still think that's going to be regarded as 6.1.0. But in effect, these changes are absolutely going to be the most impactful changes ever. So 9.2.0, as it stands right now, is the biggest update ever. And I do not think that is hyperbole. But to cut to the chase, since time's of the essence, and I really want to get back to the original video I was going to be doing as my premiere video, which was going to be something like a 2.5-hour video, which would have made me look like a fucking prophet, having predicted this right off the rip. The simple thing is that this is the pure embodiment of Survivor feedback loop to Dead by Daylight and its developer behavior. The bias is now coming through at such an alarming rate that, not to get too ahead of myself, but I really feel that this is going to be like the conditions before 6.1.0, which is going to be a unofficial killer strike. Nothing that was organized, but is just going to happen naturally, where killers are just not going to play the game, because these changes are not going to fly as they are right now. I'll tell you that right now. But anyhow, before we get into that, we're going to quickly go over the changes, and I'll be giving my points point by point. So firstly, we're going to talk about slugging. So the slugging reduction update. If a survivor is left in the dying state for a total of 90 seconds during a match, they gain the ability to pick themselves up after fully recovering. Here's something that a lot of people are missing. Again, this could just be behavior being dog shit as per usual, and they don't know how to word or convey information. But by the wording of this, if we were to take this as fact, it says for a total of 90 seconds, not 90 seconds consecutively. That would mean if you were slugged 3 times for 30 seconds, you now just gain Basekit Unbreakable permanently. Every time you recover, you can just pick yourself up after that in post. Which is to say, this just outright kills slugging, but we'll get into some of that math after I go over the rest of the points. But they added the option to enable or disable this mechanic in custom game. That should be the biggest red flag, that this is not going to go over well with the comp community. You can think whatever you want about the comp community. I personally don't take them too seriously myself, but the fact that people who are optimizing the shit out of this game and take it extremely seriously would probably have the most immediate reason to disable this is not a good sign. That would indicate that the balance of this is fucked. Note, perks that enable you to recover from the dying state, like Boon Exponential, would continue to function out before without needing to meet this requirement. Whoopee. Gradually increase crawling speed for survivors who are left in the dying state. It's basically Basekit Tenacity. It may even be a little bit faster. I can't say for sure. We don't know the exact numbers, and this GIF is really shitty, but it does look like he sure is hustling there. So by the end of it, you're moving pretty quick. You added the ability for survivors to recover while crawling. Recovery now occurs passively. And survivor and killer perks will be changed to account for these changes. Oh, I'm sure. All right, well, we can just go ahead and cut to the chase on this. Slugging's a dead playstyle. I know 90 seconds might seem like a lot for people out of a 240-second timer, but again, that time is in total, not consecutive, which means after, as somebody pointed out, something like 60 to 65%, somewhere along that line of your bleed out timer, you're just going to gain permanent unbreakable throughout the rest of the game. I can go ahead and just give you a quick scenario here, because a lot of you are going to be like, but 90 seconds is huge. You can still slug. It's not going to be the same. That's a complete fantasy, and it won't even be able to really realistically build pressure. It's going to be just temporary pressure, if ever, and it will never be the same like game-winning pressure that it could have been, where Survivor now has like an option where theoretically he can turn a losing scenario into a winning scenario. But just to kind of like start this off in your mind, let's just say that there's a killer, and he's lost 3 gens. He's maybe chased a couple of people, drop chase, gone to another, just had bad chases after the other where he's not gotten it down. 3 gens have passed, but finally he's gotten it down, and somebody's body blocking him. They're now going in for a failed body block save, and he's gotten the injury, and he realizes, okay, I'm going to set this person down, I'm going to go after the second person, and he gets that down. Now, during this time, he can see somebody in the distance, and he thinks to himself, I could take the 2 hooks, which realistically, based on this, like, I don't know. They could run in, get the save, like the revive while I'm picking up the first person. It's dicey. Or I could take the risk and leave these 2 people down and pressure that third person over there and maybe find the 4th person and turn this losing scenario into a winning one quickly. So we're going to go ahead and just do some quick math on this. We're going to call this like a highly optimized chase where mistakes have occurred. Your first chase is going to last 20 seconds, but the second chase lasts 15 seconds. You can see another player already running in and maybe out of position. You focus this in, and an amazing feat, you get another 15 seconds on your down. This scenario should completely shift the tides of war in the killer's favor, even though it's not without risk. One of these survivors could already be running unbreakable. Some of them could have conviction, and even that is just ridiculous, being able to get everybody up. It's not without risk, but nevertheless, like, your only possibility of winning here is going to be taking this slug out. And by some miracle, you're going to find and down the 4th survivor in another miracle chase time of about 15 seconds. So just to review, that's 20 seconds for the first, 15 for the second, 15 for the third, and 15 for the 4th. And we're going to consider a 10-second travel time to each chase after the first. This is an incredible turnaround, basically optimal efficiency, but guess what? It doesn't matter, because that's right, 95 seconds have already passed. Our killer hasn't even gotten the chance to push for a hook state through all of this. They've also been crawling and recovering at the same time, meaning survivors who understand coordination are almost certainly going to split up, or maybe they'll go 2 and 1 in one direction. But the fact that they're not only recovering just automatically, but also moving quicker and faster gives you no incentive to wait around while the killer is moving around and chase. Meaning, even if I wanted to go back and start hooking people, they could be fucking anywhere. You can't play this out of both sides of your mouth, like behavior tries in their dev notes. Again, we're going to pay attention to what people do, not what they say. I don't care that behavior is trying to like take this milquetoast middle of the road thing with their dev notes of like, we understand that sometimes this is that, and that makes you feel sad, but killer also needs that. That's not the case. Like, the actions indicate otherwise. If you really cared and viewed the killer strategy of slugging as a viable play that ultimately should lead to hook states, why would you make recovery automatic, and why would you make tenacity Basekit? This literally just incentivizes moving as far away from the area as possible. Now, I know that the immediate reaction to that is going to be, well, because it's fun. You know, it gives Survivor something to do, and he feels like he's getting away. So what? You're literally talking out of both sides of your mouth. Do you want me to hook slug survivors, or don't you? I don't even get like a Basekit compensation of this, of like Deerstalker, which straight up should be Basekit if that's going to be the way that this is going to go. Because you can't say that you want me to use slugging as a means to an end, just to create pressure and then hook and not hold the game hostage, bleeding out all these survivors on the floor, and then have them hide and rezzing each other. But this is 100% the death of slugging. It is no longer a viable strategy. It is only minimal pressure. Like, maybe you can get 2 hooks off of that, which would still be, you know, quote unquote bad, but against like a strong team, like it will never be the same turnaround potential of a properly executed strategy that it used to be. It is just a dead strategy. Even more so, again, I can't like hammer this home enough. The fact that you're not going to, one, either just cut Basekit tenacity on auto revival, or give killer something like Deerstalker with like a 36 or 48 meter Basekit range. I'm talking like huge range of just being able to find survivors. We all know what this is, and this is just a way of just saying, well, Survivor just doesn't belong on the ground, and if you did that, well, now you gotta lose. The moment you introduce guessing with high mobility to slug survivors, the we're mitigating slugging is just an utter joke. It's a self-revealed fraud and a hoax. By the time you've downed the last man, the first survivor's already picked himself, and presuming that he didn't just go over and just pick the other survivor up, which he probably could have, maybe Survivor 3, the efficiency of the entire team just getting up is just off the charts. Because one, he's going to be getting Survivor 3 up if he has any brains whatsoever, and Survivor 2 is going to recover by the time he gets over to Survivor 3 anyway. So, again, just slugging is just dead. Under these conditions, completely forgetting whatever perks or reworks they're going to add it, just looking at it, Basekit, it's dead. Knocking down 2 survivors is going to be the new quote-unquote slugging, and 3 is going to be like your hard cap max, but you will never be able to slug out the entire team under these conditions unless there's some sort of like legitimate throw going on. Into the tunneling reduction update. Survivor is hooked. Their hook status is hidden from the killer. When they're unhooked, there is no notification, and their hook status isn't revealed immediately. This is disabled once all generators are completed. So what this means is they're going to take the laziest route possible, and there will be a really cheesy fog-like effect that rolls over like a little hook icon where you can't like see the survivor or something, and it'll be... And after they've been unhooked, you're not going to hear or know unless you visually see that happening. And after 30 seconds have passed, that little effect is going to like wash over, and you will see that injured Felix is now going to be completely healed and probably has been working on a gen for at least 20 seconds because he got healed in 10 seconds 20 seconds ago by We're Gonna Live Forever, and he's been sitting on that generator ever since. That is one of their solutions to tunneling. The other one is just the unhooked survivors are going to gain like a bunch of effects, your status or static like haste endurance, and a new effect called Elusive. We're not going to go too deep into this whole Elusive thing. It's a very coincidentally similar idea that Otofu recently talked about as his whole ethereal idea, which is essentially just a Basekit version of Off the Record. So that's a good way to just kind of think of Elusive, is just off the record without the endurance state. No collision with other players for quote-unquote limited time, including the killer. So you can no longer body block to wait something out. It's okay if a survivor body blocks you after, accomplishing your objective by a matter of skill and, body blocks you from getting a hook. That's fine. But if you want to do that to wait out endurance or other effects for them that are on a timer, like that's just not fair. Your wiggle timer is different from their Basekit, like borrowed time timer. And the reason it is just, shut up and fuck you. These effects are lost when the effective survivor performs a conspicuous action. Okay? All these effects except haste and endurance are disabled once all generators are completed. No surprise there. They're going to be adding a unique killer hook state UI that's going to indicate the last survivor that you've hooked. Okay? Let you know how fucking serious they are about this. After completing a unique hook on this, basically a different survivor every time, killers are going to get the following benefits, which are a bonus damage to the next generator kick. I'm going to kind of get ahead of myself and say we all know what the fuck that means, and it is going to be like the most uncommensurative bonus to killer damage ever, which is going to be something like, oh, congratulations, you've got yourself 2.5% to 5% extra damage. I will go ahead and call it now. There is like a 90% chance that is the range that we are working in. 2.5 to 5%. There is a 9% chance that it is going to be 10% to 15%. And there is a 1% through 0% chance that it is going to be something like a Basekit pop or something like that. It's just not going to happen. And the reason I can say that is if you just look at the wording, it's in their language. There's nothing like significant compensation or large bonus or huge damage bonus. It's just you gain bonus damage. It's not It's not even like commensurative or incentivized or stacking. There's a very distinct lack of some key words here that should automatically warn you. Just get some bonus damage. Oh boy, you mean like the bonus percent of a great skill check of 1%? I think we know what we're talking about here. There's the temporary haste status effect you're going to get, which is a big fucking nothing burger. I'm going to be real. That there's a lot of killers that just doesn't fucking affect whatsoever. Like teleporting killers already have a high mobility but even ones that do, or excuse me, ones that don't have good mobility, perks like that already exist in the game. Like Furtive Chase has been around for a while, and so has things like Devour Hope, which give you an extra, like, quickly 4% after a limited amount of time. Even Noed technically has like a speed boost bonus. I can tell you all of them just kind of feel like, all right. I can never think of any of those that have netted game-winning scenarios or have given me immediate pushes. They're only just like, like a shoulder shrug, like, yeah, it feels kind of good, but it's not going to translate into anything meaningful. The next part is it temporarily reveals survivors, think Basekit, barbecue, and chili, that have equal to or less hooks than the survivor you just hooked. Which, correct me if I'm wrong, just thinking about it, that basically should mean even if you were tunneling, everybody is going to be constantly revealed, except for the one time that you need it, which would be when everyone else is on death hook and you're on the last person. So you've two hooked. You just got to your last maybe survivor, and let's just say you're in a scenario where it's their first hook, where everyone else has been two hooked. I hook them for the first time and I don't see fucking anybody based on this system, which would be the one time I fucking need it, which is to get somebody out of the game. By that measure, to get the maximum value of this, you literally have to 12 hook everybody, which is just ridiculously stupid and not commensurative. Behavior, I don't know if you've been paying attention to the meta for the past couple of years, but barbecue and chili has fallen off. It is a low mid perk at best. I can think of a million other information perks that are just better and that I would prefer to have. I not too long ago, I was running like a full aura build on Pyramid Head just for the fucksies, because, like, his buff and additional things. So I was like, yeah, and I'll synergize this with lethal. And I tried out barbecue and chili for the first time in probably 3 years. And I gotta be real, Behavior. I never once thought that information translated into anything meaningful. It literally never occurred to me that it was even there. I eventually just swapped it off for Predator because it's way more impactful of just having aura reading on a chase I can potentially win than, oh, there's a man on fucking Mars. See him over there? Yeah, he's over there. If I wanted that information, why wouldn't I take more valuable information? Like Jagged Compass, which has nothing to do with auras that can be prevented or blocked by any means, and just shows me the generator that is the most progress, and I want to go there. Or I want to be around that area, because that's where survivors are going to be. It's just stupid. It's a worthless, shoulder-rolling, wow-y kind of bonus. The next part is these effects are Lesson for the Blight, the Dark Lord, the Ghoul, Hillbilly, and Nurse. We're at that point where even Behavior is finally realizing that blanket changes are no longer going to work when there are just killers in the game who are chasmly bodying the lower brackets of killer tier lists. And rather than just fix them, they're just going to introduce individual changes that specifically don't apply to them, which, I mean, I guess is better than nothing, but it's so late in the game to even consider something like this when you've already fucked us over thousands and thousands of times on perks that were not problematic on lower tier survivors, but just made the best, or excuse me, the best killers better. It's just awfully late to the party, and even if they did give them these effects, come on, are they gonna fucking matter, at all? Probably not. These effects are disabled once all generators are completed. Whoopee! Added new effects that disincentivize tunneling. If a survivor dies before 6 total hook states, all remaining survivors gain a repair speed bonus for the rest of the trial. This is fucking stupid, dude, because you could literally be cycling between 2 survivors, which isn't tunneling. I hook survivor 1, I go over down survivor 2, hook him, run back to the hook down survivor 1, since he's in the area and he's probably not fully healed. Cycle back to hook 2, rinse and repeat until somebody dies. Somebody dies at 5 hooks in that scenario. Now, somebody's going to go ahead and say, wow, you're really going to tunnel me after that? It's not fucking tunneling and you're stupid. Your team should be coordinating to counter that anyway. But regardless, officially now, I mean, I can't even argue with it, because as a matter of fact, that is apparently considered tunneling. It's right there in black and white, pen and paper. If you kill somebody like that, it is considered tunneling. What's more is, let's just say the team's just throwing, or they want to fucking farm somebody right in front of me, and they pull them off hook right in front of my face. there is no reason for me not to just put that person back on hook. But considering they were the last person that was just hooked, if they die, no generators can be regressed or blocked. I'm permanently penalized for like playing optimally because, well, just because. Fuck you, shut up. There's no longer any reason to kind of wait for the like killer to be kind of in a fair amount of distance or like already preoccupied with a chase anymore. You know, typical stuff that you wouldn't want to do, like unhooking like within general like eyesight of a killer. Like as long as the killer's like 16 meters away, who the fuck cares? Just pull him off the hook. What are they gonna do? What the fuck Timmy gonna do? Is he gonna tunnel him out and just accept this horrible conditioned state? No. Everything about this just, it's enforcing like role play levels of stupidity upon the killer. They've also added the option to enable or disable this mechanic in the custom game, which again, back to me saying right off the rip, that's a big indication that this is not going to go over well with competitive communities and is a busted and stupid mechanic at its face. But fuck you, you're gonna eat it in the matchmaking, and they're gonna change survivor and killer perks to account for these changes. I'm not gonna get too down the weeds into the elusive thing if you want to look it up. If you don't take my word for it that it's just a poor man's off the record, I guess that's really your problem. Likewise, a survivor who is hooked last, dying and just forcing a benefit upon the survivors and essentially, again, subsidizing survivor mistakes and penalizing the killer for doing something that is good, which is completing his objective quickly. This means, in effect, that there are very specific people or scenarios that are just going to unfold where you're just probably going to have to take the L as killer to no fault of your own for doing everything right. And a perfect example of this is going to like be Pig or Sadako, where Pig perhaps just hooked somebody and maybe their timer was running really low, like they conveniently like got somebody right off the box that they needed and their timer was just about to run out. Now they're on the hook, and the second they come off the hook, they just don't have the time to get over and do the box, and their fucking head explodes. Now, that would be what you would call great gameplay. The Pig made a very smart decision, just happened to be in the right area at the right time, and they have secured a kill early on. They're getting value out of their power, which, to be frank, if bear traps aren't killing people, they're just a time waster. So anytime a bear trap kills somebody, that's huge for Pig. That's a big deal, and that's good. You've completed your objective. You killed a survivor. Well, this just says, fuck you. No, you didn't. Fuck you. Everybody, you can't ever kick a gen again, and everybody's going to get a crazy repair speed so that they can potentially be on equal par, even though there's a missing fourth person. To me, that indicates, too, that the repair speed has got to be massively significant to make up for the loss of a fourth person. It's probably going to be like 50% at the absolute lowest, and maybe 75% if behavior is just like going absolutely crazy, which I would not doubt, but again, like I'm going to call it like 50% is probably going to be the lowest bar of that speed bonus, because it has to be when you just don't have enough people to complete objectives, like in order for it to be a meaningful change that kind of quote unquote corrects that externality. That's all that they're going to be able to do. All right, now we're going to go ahead and talk real quick in closing, which is about philosophy. I know this has been a very long video as it is, but all of this comes down to Paguvian taxes and subsidies, which is to say behavior just doesn't fucking understand what they do. They heard something along these lines and thought to themselves, oh, that sounds good. That makes sense. And without looking further into it at all, they just, fucking fired it through and shit it out, which is what we're going to get in this PTB and potentially the full game if this is completely ratified into killer and survivor law. The survivor handbook is now law. And that is, if you don't want more of something and the nature of it will not automatically correct itself, well, you want to tax it. And any behavior you want more of, you want to subsidize. Or, if you want it in even simpler terms beyond that, you de-incentivize behavior you don't like, and you incentivize behavior you do want. Makes sense. Here's the problem. Behavior has made the incentives absolutely meaningless or non-commensurative for the sheer loss of taxes and de-incentivization that is going into former playstyles. This is essentially like saying, I want people to drink orange juice because orange juice is better, and cola is bad. But people are too dumb. They love their cola. Like, they're stupid animals, and I, being the supreme being, I just know better than them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce a Pigouvian tax onto this. Sounds all right so far. The problem arises when you decide, well, I'm going to introduce a 5,000% tax onto soft drinks. And to incentivize people to drink the orange juice, I'm going to offer them like a 5% coupon every month on their purchases on orange juice. Now, people are going to obey that because they have no other choice. At that stage, it is virtually regulation in everything but like law or word. But they are going to fucking hate you for it. In real life, things that closely mirror this are like prohibition, in the fact that the biggest tax of all is just regulating something fucking away from you. And it creates entire markets where people are just refusing to obey the law, or they're trying to work around it. Now, it's not that simple in this case, but what that's going to lead is frustration that is so high that people are not going to fucking play your game. The vast majority of killers are not going to survive this change. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I think it is going to be very eye-opening for a lot of people just how many killers have been forced to rely on these strategies. Not because they want to, but because they fucking have to. Because they've been so bodied by the power creep of this game, and they've been just left behind in total neglect. Like, it is untenable how unfun and awful it is to play as anything that isn't A+ tier and above. Even B tier killers really have to kind of like put on their thinking caps these days to survive. Like, it's not easy out there. If behavior had any intelligence whatsoever and they understood the Pigouvian tax, they would know that the best way is to make it mildly uncomfortable. Like, yeah, I mean, let's say like I offer like a 30% tax on any soda that's out there. It's still noticeable. If my soda was like $1, it's now $1.27 now, or something close to that after pay, and it's like But the real sell is you subsidize majorly the product you want to push, which would be my orange juice. I now have my orange juice subsidized by like 80%. Now it's only like 20 cents for a jug that's larger than the Coke. People are going to just naturally gravitate and say, wow, this is a huge value. Like, why wouldn't I do this? Like, I just heard that this got a little bit more expensive, and on occasion I can get it, but really I want to drink orange juice just for the value. You have to provide value that is larger than the penalties that are being placed, because one, people will pursue those naturally, and two, they're not going to hate and rebel against you for it either. 3, it also doesn't moralize or take the position that you're evil for doing this. It's just, I want to see less of this, not that you can't have it or you can't do it. But again, this is just beyond the ability to grasp of the behavior dev. The killer compensation, that is the subsidies of all of these taxes of removing 2 other playstyles, which now means 4 playstyles in the game are completely removed, which would be stall out a game. There's eventually a gen kick limit that is going to prevent you from doing everything right. You know, the survivors aren't able to complete their objective and you're wearing them down in a war of attrition that's completely legitimate. Can't do that. You can't camp. You can no longer tunnel. You can no longer slug. There is now officially only one way to play this game, and that is to rotate hooks. But everything about, as I alluded to earlier, does not fill me with confidence at all that not even like the slightest that the commensurative bonuses are going to be meaningful whatsoever. It's in the language, again, like it's just like not like a significant bonus damage to the next kick and large amounts of haste. There just aren't wordings like that. It's just like, yeah, you get a little bit of this, a little bit of that. It literally feels like I'm being taxed at 5,000%. I'm going to get like 1.5% cash back at the end of the year as my compensation prize. Regardless, I'm starting to get a little weary. I've been working on this video for about 12 hours. Just trying to rush it through and create some better content here. There's really just no reason that survivors should have this much subsidized and killers should just have so little coming his way. I would even go as far as to say one other element of commensuratory return on that should just be you should roll back the anti-healing changes. Mangled should be a permanent condition until healed It should not be something that is on a timer whatsoever, and maybe even tone down some of the healing perks altogether. But you cannot keep going this direction that you're going and expect killers to actually stick with this game. I'm still going to be making some content just talking about game theory and balance and how 2v8 is a model that should be admired. But in its current state, I have no interest in playing DBD anymore. And I do actually think that I'm probably rolling out of this game for good, regardless of whatever happens from this. But regardless, this was still something that's just funny to talk about. Like, everything about this is just stupid. You've done nothing but subsidize survivor mistakes to the point where now it's not enough that they have so much of this shit already base kit that Survivor's never been stronger, frankly, than it is now. Swifts are still the true power role of this game, and this is going to be nothing but a massive buff to them. And I mean, when's the last time you can think of that shitty Survivor playstyles have been fucking curtailed or punished? Does the entity come in and like say you've body blocked enough or you've saboed enough hooks and like punish you? Are there troll perks that second chance that just say like, well, you may have failed to get that down, but the survivor now explodes into like a pink mist in the distance because you've had like 7 body blocks and 6 protection hits or something. So we're just gonna say that's enough, and then somebody can just die. The second perk chances that exist for killer are barely second chance perks. I can already hear the saber rattling of in-game perks, but in-game perks are not the same thing any more than hope is a second chance perk or wake up is a second chance perk. You're putting all of your eggs in one basket into the end game to have a significantly stronger effect. Is just not comparable. There just isn't second chance perks for killers. They just don't exist. At best, all of their perks that are initially similar that people could begin to grasp at straws with really aren't second chance perks. They're just trap perks. They're things that you surprise or spring on people with, like Devour Hope or Coup de Grace. But regardless, as things stand right now, this game is on its last legs. If changes like this go through and they are not radically adjusted in the ways that I've described, which is you need to lessen the tax. You can't outlaw the play. You shouldn't outlaw the play style. You should tax it to minorly disincentivize it, but your real goal should be to subsidize tremendously the play style you want, where it's just like, well, why wouldn't I do this? If cycling hooks gives you such a net benefit that it would be dumb not to do it, that is infinitely better than you just patching out the ability to do a completely different play style. You will get the result you want, and people will be happier with it. In general, it will occur naturally. But in this current course, with the draconian regulation, this game is just going to fucking die. That is not a joke. Survivors are celebrating this, calling killers entitled and saying you fucking deserve this and all this. You are in for a big surprise. If you're a killer main too, look, man, I highly recommend that you just don't put up with this shit anymore. This game is terrible. You really need to start accepting that. I know you're holding on to the love of a killer that you've dumped a ton of time into. At this stage, you've probably found somebody who's your main and you have an emotional connection to them. It's just not worth it, man. Like, you're only hurting yourself. You need to drop this game, go play like Identity 5 or literally anything else is a more productive use of your time than this. Because behavior is not going to course correct this in time. Their history has shown when it has come to killer and survivor preference and anything they've said, that any corrections that will be made towards the benefit of killer will come too late. They're always going to be about 6 months behind on that. They will always default to the survivor opinion until killers just aren't there, until it's like the predecessor to 6.1, where there's just not enough killers in the game anymore and they're not coming back. You have to re-incentivize and subsidize the behavior that you want. But anyhow, I will be making a completely different video at a different stage here that will be going into way, way more intricate detail. A lot of this was just more off the rip and practically me just sitting here giving my honest opinions on a very loose script. So I will be excited to make a much more polished product in the future. If you enjoyed my take on this, like and subscribe. It does help us out a lot. And keep your eyes open. We will be premiering with a very, very large video very soon in the near future.